What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of Player Ratings, the first of the new Antonio Conte era, as Spurs beat Vitesse 3-2 in the Europa Conference League last night. We're here with John. Sim's still away, Brian's gotten home, and John is in the hot seat today. How are we doing today, John?
Yeah, how we doing, mate? All right?
Yeah, all good.
How was
all
it last
good.
night? I want to know what was the general atmosphere like, for Conte and also during the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a kind of atmosphere that you expect in the Europa League, but I think the Europa Conference League, but I think it was a bit better and there was a lot more excitement, and definitely the mood with people, just general people, was definitely a lot better. So it was nice to be around the stadium last night. The songs didn't get us going as much as I would have liked, but there was definitely a happy atmosphere around.
Were there Conte songs or not?
Yeah, Antonio.
Yeah.
There was loads of Italian flags around the stadium as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Italian flags?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Italian flags, and one had like the Godfather imprint on it and stuff
so
like
quick.
that.
Spurs fans are so quick to sort of, be creative, aren't they?
Yeah. So it was good to be there last night.
What was happening with the Vitesse fans as well?
Mate, they were causing carnage.
They were bouncing around, weren't they?
Causing carnage. There were fights going on all game with the Vitesse fans. Fights with the stewards, fights with the police. Apparently, it was all kicking off before the game as well, which I didn't see. But they didn't hold themselves in much light last night, the Vitesse fans, to be honest. It was really not great to see so much fighting throughout the whole game, pretty much, and a lot of fans got ejected as well. But
Spurs fans as well.
No, Vitesse fans.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into the player ratings. Let's start off with Hugo Laurice, and this is 8s all round from us from Hugo Laurice. And in my opinion, our man the match last night, and I thought save after save, and really top saves as well last night, with some quite good shots from distance, which this is flying in the top corner, and Laurice was equal to it most times. I don't think he could have done anything with the goals. I mean, the first goal was just a mishap from Eric Dyer, we'll get to in a minute, and Laurice couldn't get there. But the second one was just a lovely finish, wasn't it? Just completely round Laurice. So brilliant performance for me. But how did you read his performance?
Yeah, excellent, very dynamic. He didn't really do anything wrong. Some people said he was at fault for the second goal, but I don't think he could have done that much.
I don't think so.
I mean, it was
a brilliant finish,
it was a great
wasn't
finish. He saved us. There was plenty of shots that came in the second half where he tipped it over the bar. When he was called upon, he stepped up. So, I think 8's. Yeah,
fair.
I thought he was man of the match. So yeah.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about Emerson Royal. John gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. Probably on reflection, 7 is probably. I actually changed it from a 7 to an 8. I think it's his best showing in a Spurs shirt so far. Yeah. I thought with a bit of less defensive responsibility, you could really see him strut his stuff going forward. I mean, he was giving them a lot of problems down that right-hand side. Obviously, he was the one that got the goalkeeper sent off with a nice little dink over the keeper where he handballed it. But I thought he was just really providing an outlet on that right-hand side so many times. And he was playing so high up the pitch for the majority of the game. And this is the kind of performances we want to see from Emerson. And we were talking about Conte as well, how he's going to bring on these fullbacks, how fullbacks are kind of so imperative to the style that he wants to play. And we saw that last night. Yeah,
he's very aggressive. He was getting a lot of freedom down that side. He was doing a lot of these step-overs, like unnecessary step-overs. But I like to see that because it shows me that he's playing with confidence. It's kind of very unfiltered way of playing. It's not reserved, it's not conservative way of playing. He even does like little back heels in tight areas and stuff like that, whereas a player that's sort of lacking a bit of confidence, they wouldn't do that. So it shows to me that he's very raw. He's playing with a lot of confidence. He's getting a lot of freedom down that side. The only sort of, if you had to be ultra critical, you could say that his final ball his killer pass isn't quite there at the moment. He does have so his crossing's not there. He does sort of seem to have that kind of Lennon style pullback, just like pass into the box, which sort of, if someone was onto that, it would kind of work. But yeah, I'd say that it's a good performance, and I'd say he's been good since he's come into the side.
I think he's gradually getting better and better.
Even when we lose, I can still see that he's playing all right.
I thought that he had a poor performance at West Ham. I did think that, and I think his first performance for us, I can't remember who was it, against Arsenal or someone, was pretty poor. But by and large, I think he's been improving each on game, and definitely yesterday, because I thought yesterday was his best performance in the Spurs shirt. And, there were times in the first half, when we were attacking them at will, and he was the one there trying to break the lines and trying to get past beyond the last defender as well. So really good energy last night from Emerson Royal. But let's move on to Christian Romero. John gives him a 6. I give him a 5. Let's start off with the good with Christian Romero, because straight from the off, he was joining the attack. He was being really aggressive, coming in front of defenders, teed up Heung-min Son, who should have done better. And there was a time where he took it past like 2 or 3 men, striving forward as well. And you can just see how aggressive and how important to the team he is, because against better strikers, against a Lukaku, against a Ronaldo, against one of these players, when they like the ball to feet, he's going to step in front of them and wins the ball back time and time again. And I think he's really important for us in defence. But on the flip side, he just does stupid, aggressive play sometimes, and that's what got him sent off yesterday. Obviously, he got sent off with half an hour to go, and 2 silly challenges, in my opinion, especially the second one, in my opinion.
I nearly gave a 5. I was like, that was the one that I spent the most time on, I think. You could say a 5 just because of the silly bookings, and the red card. So
put us into a lot of trouble.
It got us into. It could have cost us. It could have really cost us, and it was silly. It was so unnecessary. But the reason I kept it as a 6, I guess, because he set up the Son chance, didn't he? He was very far forward. I think this is the thing with him. It's like his biggest strength is his biggest weakness. He likes to play on the front foot a lot. He's very aggressive. He likes to play very far forward. But that can often cost him. It cost him at Wolves in the Carabao Cup. It also cost him Man United, didn't it, when he wasn't picking up Cavani. He sort of tends to be very aggressive and not really see what's behind him. Yeah. But that's a general thing with him. Maybe that will take a little bit of time.
The thing is, with the 3 in the back system, it might suit it more, because you're going to have 2 other defenders there to back him up.
To back it up, yeah, maybe. But I kept it a 6 because I can see what he's doing, and he's a little bit of a breath of fresh air, and he does like to play very aggressively. And I think I can see he's a good player, so I'm going to keep that at 6. So I can see it's going forward. It's going to be good for us having a player like him in the side. Yeah,
for sure. Let's move on to Eric Dyer. 5s all round from us. I thought, he played in the middle in the back 3, first of all, and I think that he was actually orchestrating the back line, and he was the kind of leader in there, kind of telling people where to move, and that's what I saw on the pitch anyway, being in the stands.
And he had a good, do you know what? If you look at it objectively, he did have a good second half.
He did, and I think that once Romero got sent off, him and Davies had big work on their hands. They really did, and I think both of them stood up pretty well.
And you could see, whenever a defender sort of has that moment where they go, the fans are going to scapegoat me now. You can either fold or you have to step up and really work harder. And I could see in the second half he was really working hard. He was winning so many headers in the air, so many headed clearances. Yeah. And I think that kind of went a little bit under the radar.
But this is the thing with Eric Dyer every time.
He's an 89-minute player. He's an 89-minute player.
Yeah.
Looks great for 89 minutes. Then's got the brain farts. And I would say, how would you say that? So the one that, let's say that the first goal. How much? Obviously he didn't jump, but some people are saying that there was a couple of incidents just in like the build up to that where it kind of knock-on effect. He couldn't jump for that. A player fell over, and how much?
I don't really buy that. I think that Eric Dyer should be there, and I think that he should be much stronger than he was, and he was weak. And
I need to look at that back, but someone was saying
Dyer's got to be stronger there. Yeah, I really do.
And then the thing that annoys me, and that this is something that he does, he's a clumsy player. He's a very industrial, very strong player, but he's clumsy. And when that's for the second goal, like he just stretches his legs wide, and it's so. I know that's a typical thing because you're thinking I want to block both sides, but sometimes the best thing to do is actually keep your feet together. I think in those instances, know where the goalie is, kind of know where they're, and just the fact that it just went through his legs was a bit. I don't know, it just wound me up a little bit.
Yeah, and the thing is with Eric Dyer, right? On the fan show last night when you guys were running it, and great show by the way, they were saying everyone was calling up and saying, "Oh, Dyer was our worst player. Dyer this, Dyer that." I didn't see that last night. I mean, I know he made the mistake for the goal.
Yeah, he got scapegoated.
But I thought apart from that, he had a fairly good game. I know I've marked him down to a 5, and that's just because of the mistake, and probably I'm playing into the narrative that they're all playing into last night. But I don't think he was terrible. Like everyone
I nearly
was
gave
saying.
him a 6. To be honest.
Me as well.
I was like, I kind of changed it a few times. I had him a 6, then I went to a 5, then So I don't think he was as terrible. This is what I'm saying. Fans will see like him not jumping for that header, and then they'll automatically give him a low score. I think that's kind of what we do as fans. Like the Davies one when he didn't track the ball and from Bruno, and then Ronaldo scores. Everyone will now say he's the worst player on the pitch just for that.
Yeah.
It's typical. It's kind of what we do as fans, isn't it? We take a whole 90 minutes and then we reduce it down to one incident, and then we make them the scapegoat.
And we don't look at any of the good things that they did during the game.
And it taints the rest of the 90 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
But I actually think that Dyer second half was actually very good. But
All right.
unfortunately, yeah, 5.
Let's move on to the third centre back on the left-hand side, Ben Davies, 5s all round. Maybe a surprise inclusion, playing in that left centre back role. By and large, I did think he had a good game as well, but I thought, what was he doing in the centre of the box when he completely air-kicked it when Harry Kane scored? But, good.
He didn't air-kick it. He did get it. He scuffed it, didn't he?
Yeah, he scuffed it.
He scuffed it. I don't know whether that was a shot or a pass.
I think it was a shot. It had to be a shot, surely.
It went straight to Harry Kane, didn't it?
Yeah, so there was that moment. There was a moment where, definitely should have given away a Stonewall penalty right in the edge of the area, clipped the Vitesse striker. And if there was VAR, that's definitely a penalty.
Yeah, you think that was in the box, don't you?
Yeah, it was in the box.
Yeah,
it was in the box.
It definitely looked like a free. It definitely looked like a free kick when you watched it, but the ref just.
It was just inside the box.
What do you think the ref was thinking then?
I don't know, but
because you could see he clipped him, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if there was VAR, definitely would have been a penalty.
And then 100%. If that was a penalty, everyone would have made him the scapegoat for the whole game.
Yeah. But I think by and large after that, like you're saying, when Romero got sent off, I thought he stood up as well as with Eric Dyer as well, and I thought both of them were pretty good defensively, to be honest.
Yeah, they did their job, didn't they? After that.
All right, let's move on to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. 5s all round from us. The good points from Pierre's performance, I think that he started the game really well. Putting himself about, was like a bull in the china shop, aggressive, running about a lot. Obviously, it was his persistence that helped us score that first goal. He won the ball back time and time again. But his passing, for me, was a real down point, his performance, especially in the second half, because the second half, we had no impetus going forward pretty much. I mean, up until the last 10 minutes, we went into their box like twice, maybe, once or twice, literally. And I think like Højbjerg and Skip, to be fair, were a massive part of that. I mean, how many times did Højbjerg get the ball in the middle of the park to try start an attack? And it was just a misplaced pass every single time.
You thought that was the same thing against United, wasn't it? I don't know what's happened, but in the last... couple games, 2-3 games, Skip and Højbjerg, it's not been the same, is it? For whatever reason, it doesn't look like you could have said they were like the first on the team sheet a few games ago.
They were.
Now you're like looking at it and you're going, I don't know, there's something not quite right there at the moment. I don't know what it is, but the performances haven't quite been there from them, have they? The last couple games. So Højbjerg, started off the game well, and then to be honest, I wasn't really noticing him as much. I wasn't really like honing in on him.
But did you not notice his persistence for the first goal? He won the ball back, then did a misplaced pass, then won the ball back again, and then that led on to the
That's what he does. He'll kind of give the ball away, and then he'll charge back in, win it back again. And then if we get the ball, then no one will ever like look at that. But if the opposition get the ball, then people go, what's Højbjerg doing? It's like clumsy,
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's move on to Ollie Skip. 5s all round from us. Pretty similar from Højbjerg. I think his distribution wasn't the greatest, but I think he did put a lot of energy and desire into the game. I think it was a better display than against Man United, because against Man United, I did think he got lost in that game a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it was an improvement on that, but still not to match his big performances this season so far.
I don't know. There's something about the last couple of performances where he's sort of keeping it very safe, and he's not opting on the progressive pass. He's sort of opting on the side. There's a little bit of Winksism slipping in to Skip, I've noticed. And it's a shame, because the things that I liked about him, especially when he was breaking through, was that he was quite direct and he would fizz the ball through the lines, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I
think there's a little bit with him at the moment where it's sort of he's being a little bit cautious on the ball, overly cautious, and there's that little bit of Winksism creeping in. So yeah, it was a 5 for me. It wasn't. Yeah, it could have been better. Yeah.
And do you think it's any surprise that we're heavily linked to more central midfielders now?
What, because of
maybe not because of the recent performances, because of the people that we've got in midfield to do that solidifying role. We've got Højbjerg, we've got Skip, we've got Winks, and Dele Alli, if you want to add him in there. And people are saying, definitely the press and the rumours are that we are looking to heavily strengthen in that area.
So you think he'll come out?
I got a feeling that him and Højbjerg
really
could be up for it. I mean, the rumours are
Højbjerg's going to come out.
The rumours are. Look, Højbjerg is a good player, but I don't think that he should be one of the first team names on the team sheet. I think that we need players in there that can be solid at the back, but also have a lot going forward as well.
I think Højbjerg does have that. I think he hasn't looked good in the last couple of games, but
at times
I think he's been an absolute warrior for us the last year.
No, I completely agree with that.
He's really sort of stuck his neck on the line.
I completely agree with that.
And I think he's also developed his game, because when he first came into the side, he was just protecting the back four, if you remember. And then as last season progressed, he started to become more box to box. box. And he's also added sort of more through balls into his game. He's added more of a kind of
But we need
creative range
more
of
than
passing.
that, though. We need more than that.
And he does kind of throw himself into tackles, and he's sort of all over the pitch. And I think he does. It would be a bit harsh to say, just judging it on the last couple of performances. I think
don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Pierre, and I love what he does for us. And he's an absolutely massively important player for us. Massively important. And I've said it before that he probably deserves the captain's armband right now. But what I'm talking about is that him and Skip together, there's not enough going forward for me from that central midfield role. You could be very solid in the midfield, and that's fine and that's great. But we need players. Maybe it could be Højbjerg and another. Because I think Skip, he's too young to put all our trust in. So just right now, as it stands, so I think we do need one or two central midfielders to come in. That's for sure.
Yeah, you could be right. Especially if Ali leaves as well. There's no one really. Where's our goals coming from? In the central midfield areas.
That's it. That's it. And yesterday proved it a little bit because both of them didn't impact anything going forward, and the same against Man United, and that's been a constant theme pretty much this season. Not much creativity from midfield.
And I'd have to say Skip has looked a little bit shaky the last couple of games. I don't like to knock him down scoring wise, but I've had to, just because it's just looked a little bit nervy. And
what you're saying on Højbjerg with the through balls and the box-to-box role, and you're completely right in saying that, but what I think about Højbjerg is when you've got a central midfielder which you're looking to create and bring through balls and play that box-to-box role, it needs to be more often than what he's showing.
Yeah, I guess he's trying to show a new side to himself, isn't he? And be that more creative player as opposed to just being that, the enforcer type. So I've got a lot of patience with Pierre.
So do I.
Yeah, I've still got a lot of patience.
I've got a lot of time for Pierre, and I think he's a brilliant player. And
I do want to see him captain as well. I do want to see that.
All right, let's move on and let's go to Sergio Reguilón, sevens all round from us. And, he was playing a very advanced role on that left-hand side. He was attacking them time and time again on that left-hand side. But what I do want to say is that the end product wasn't really there. And I think his crossing was a bit off last night. When we did go down to 10 men, he moved a bit more defensively and played in that kind of flat back four, and he stayed back a bit. But then once we made those changes, he did try and forage forward a bit more. So I think Reguilón had a good display. But I would just call on him to make more of an impact in the final third, really.
Yeah. I can't really remember his final deliveries, if I'm being honest with you. But I know he was getting a lot of joy down that side. I actually thought he had a really good game, actually. Yeah, I thought he did. I don't think he did that much wrong, did he?
No, he didn't. And I think it's carried on a constant theme for this season because he's been pretty good this season. He's
been growing into the season, and he's almost getting back. I don't think he's quite at the same level as he was beginning of last season. I think he was electric, wasn't he, beginning of last season? And then, I don't know what happened. It was like slowly after the West Ham game, and also Mourinho, I always got the impression that he was trying to keep him back, a lot more, and kind of starving him of his natural instinct to go forwards. But now we're sort of starting to see him go back into that kind of into his natural instinct to get forward and play more of his instincts. So
yeah, and him and Emerson are going to thrive in this system with three at the back and flying wing backs, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, obviously, the final ball. What was it? What was your opinion on that then? What was happening when he was trying to cross it in?
He just didn't really. It's not really the final ball. It's just it is the final ball. It's basically when he gets the ball and he's flying on the left hand side.
Yeah.
I just think misplaced passes and misplaced crosses that don't really lead to anything.
I don't. Sometimes when players are playing at pace, they can often give the ball away just because they're having to trying to get everyone up to their level, onto their wavelength, and it's not quite. There's a bit of miscommunication. They can give the ball away, and then that player will get judged for it. If you know what I mean. I think that's what happens when you have a player that's flying at the opposition. But for me, on reflection, thinking back about his performance, I thought it was pretty good, and I think he was exploiting the space as well.
He was.
And it was quite a good outlet for us. So I would say I think he was in the top 4 players last night. I would say.
All right. Well, definitely by our ratings as well. So spot on there. Lucas Moura, 6 from me, 7 from you. You always have to just do 1 mark over me for Lucas Moura.
No, you're always 1 mark under me.
He wouldn't be president of the Moura Sexual Fan Club if he didn't give Moura a good mark.
I was tempted to give an 8.
I think
for first half, I thought the first 30 minutes, he was scintillating. He was our best player. it was incredible. The stuff that he was doing with Son, even the goal that he scored. If you notice, it's a little back heel. He created that. He orchestrated that goal. Little back heel.
Yeah.
Kane's got an easy job because they played quite a high line.
Yeah.
And then and it was a super finish. He like tucks it. He nutmegs the goalie as well. He was like pulling the strings in that playmaker role in that first half. The first 30 minutes, he was unreal. I thought best player I would say by quite a distance. And then people are going to judge him down for that back pass. And then he got subbed off. And then also that when a player gets subbed off, there's something psychological that we do. Psychologically, we go, we're going to take a point off for some reason. Do you know what I mean? Because a player doesn't play for 90 minutes, there's something that we go, well, he's not the best. It's very rare that you give man of the match to a player that gets subbed off, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? There's a thing that we have psychologically.
Unless he scores a hat-trick and gets subbed off.
Yeah. But for me, on that first half performance alone, I thought it was at least, seven's fair, I think.
I think with Lucas Moura, like you said, first half an hour he was brilliant, but then after that I think he kind of vanished out the game a little bit. Like some of the other players, I think he put in a lot of effort and desire in that first half an hour, and you saw that goal he scored. Right, brilliant finish first of all, but what a team goal that was! What a team goal that was! Every single player on our team touched that ball apart from Emerson, Reguilón, and Laurice.
Yeah, but it wasn't really going anywhere until he pulled the trigger, Moura, because he did the little back heel, and then he created the 1-2, and then Kane.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we've spoken about goals in the past under Poch, where you build up from the back, doesn't really look like it's going anywhere, but every player in the team is touching the ball. Great team play, something that we haven't seen all season. We haven't seen building from the back all season. So that goal for me was a sign of things to come, and it shows. I will get into Conte in a minute, which I'll talk about this goal heavily when we talk about Conte. But back on Lucas Moura's performance. Look, I think it was a good display from him, but that moment when he brilliant work to come back and win the ball, then so stupidly gives the ball to the Vitesse player and he goes on and scores. So
would you have given a 7 if he hadn't have done that?
Probably, yeah. Probably.
Okay, so you're knocking him a point down for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He gave away a goal.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Heung-min Son, 7 from me, 6 from you, and like Lucas Moura, like you say, for the first half an hour, this guy was going at it, wasn't he? The energy levels were there, the smile was back on his face. Obviously, opened up the scoring. Probably should have opened up the scoring a few minutes before that as well, with lovely play from Christian Romero. And I thought he was just going at 100 miles an hour, providing an outlet for us, always making those runs to find the space. I felt like he was always in good spaces as well, where he could have been found a lot more than he did. So I thought he played with good authority last night.
But you thought he was better than Moura?
Yeah.
I thought they were both very good in the first half. I thought they were very, they were creating little patterns together. For me, Son's not quite, there's something about his sharpness is not quite there at the moment. It's not quite on his top level, is it, at the moment?
I wouldn't say top level, but I definitely thought he was more sharp last night than he has been in previous weeks.
Apart from the Villa game, wasn't it? He was
incredibly
good that game. But yeah, there's something about his game at the moment. It's just he's huffing and puffing. He's working very hard, but there's just something not quite at his top level with his sharpness at the moment. So that's kind of why I took him down a point there.
Fair enough. I think it was a good display from him, and I think that when you saw how he set out in the game, you can see he really wants to play for this manager. You can see that. And I thought the effort and the desire was there, like it was for Lucas and like it was for Harry Kane. I thought all three of them played really well. The only reason I give him a higher rating than Lucas is literally because Lucas gave away that goal.
Yeah.
That's literally the only reason.
Could have given Son a 7 as well, I guess. Yeah. We're not doing half scores or anything like that either on this, not until we get the graphics upgraded.
All right, let's move on to Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
John gives him a 5. I give him a 7. Go on, I'll let you start this one.
Do you want me to start on that one?
Yeah.
I just thought he was a complete passenger for the whole game. I really do.
On.
No, I do. I really believe that. I think it's the slowest I've ever seen him. I think he was giving the ball away a lot. He was trotting round. He was looking like he was playing in mud, running in mud. Obviously passed to Moura, but it was pretty simple through ball. That assist, I would say. And yeah, it was just. I feel like I'm in the twilight zone when I'm watching, because all he really does is that. He comes back deep, and he wasn't really pulling any strings when he was dropping that back deep. He wasn't really spreading the passes, especially second half. I thought he should have been the one to come off, and I actually thought he should have left Moura and Son on, because they'd have brought a lot more aggression off the ball. And all he was really doing was just getting a push in the back and falling over. That was kind of all he did second half. There was no real. I wasn't seeing any quality in the ball. He doesn't play on the shoulder. He doesn't create an out ball. He doesn't sort of get into the box when we got on the wing. He doesn't make an effort to drive into the box. He's just, for me, he was just a passenger, pretty anonymous. So I'm just surprised people thought he had a good game. It's almost like we're so desperate for Harry Kane to regain his form that any little tiny thing he does, it's like, there, he's back. But we're not really being objective about it, you know. I just think that we're so desperate for him to regain form that any tiny little thing that he does, even people saying, oh, he got a nudge in the back. Oh, brilliant, Harry Kane. What a great second half you had. He got fouled, do you know what I mean? And now somebody's saying he's had a good game. For me, he's still not there. And it's concerning. It really is. It's just another poor performance.
I actually saw something different last night. And I've been heavily critical of Harry Kane this season. I really have. Time and time again, I've said it this season. I've even said, I've had arguments with Sim here. I've said that he needs to be dropped. He needs to come out of the team and stuff like that, at least temporarily. But that's not what I saw last night. I didn't see a passenger last night. I saw someone, maybe not back to his old self, but definitely somewhat on the way back to his old self. I saw effort and desire in there from Harry Kane.
Did you not see how slow he was?
No, I couldn't.
He was so slow.
I saw pressing from Harry Kane.
You saw pressing?
Yeah, I saw pressing from Harry Kane last night. I saw, obviously...
There was no pressing second half, especially when we went down to 10 men.
Second half, no.
He just didn't make any effort to press.
First half, he was showing the effort and desire. And
Really?
I think the second half, when we got down to 10 men, it was always going to be tough for us. And yes, he found no spare change and he wasn't up there for the second half.
Even in the first half, it was Sonny and Moura that were creating everything. They were dropping
back.
No,
but I think he was in there with them as well. He was in there with them as well. He got the assist for the Lucas Moura goal. Obviously, he had his hand in the second goal, which was a bit of luck. Went down to an own goal. Missed hit by Ben Davis, and he was there. But I'm not going to put him up too much for that goal because it was just a bit of luck, really. But I think that you saw him battling, and I think a good kind of way of showing that was the red card where he was battling with that defender and it ended up him kind of having to rugby tackle Harry Kane to take him down, and that's exactly what happened. And I think his effort and desire showed that red card. It wasn't just a random rugby tackle from the defender. I think Harry Kane actually bought that because of his effort and desire.
I don't think that makes you have a good performance just because you hold the ball up on the halfway line.
That's just a barometer of it. I mean, I think he was doing that all game.
I don't think his desire was there, to be honest. And I don't think his pace wasn't there. He was probably one of the slowest players. Even the people that came on, like pitch invaders, ran faster, I thought. You know what I mean? For me, he was a passion. He was pretty anonymous. And I don't know, when we're getting into the final third, he's not making those like killer runs into the box to get onto the end of it. It's almost like he's sort of playing on the periphery of the box, and it's sort of and then when you get like your Mouras and the Sons get into those positions, they're kind of he's not quite on their wavelength to be able to sort of like pick up the passes. I think that's really hurt us this season, you know. So I don't know.
Forget this season. We're talking about this specific game.
And I've seen that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was seeing that last night as well. He sort of he drifts into positions that are not going to hurt the opposition, like on the periphery of the 18-yard box as well.
Interesting. It's interesting how people read the game, isn't it? Because like, I saw someone who cared on that pitch last night, and I haven't seen that for a while. It's interesting, isn't it, how two people read the game? But anyway,
I would say most people would agree with you, but there was also some people that were in the chat section were saying similar things to what I'm saying here. So I guess it's different perspectives, isn't it, at the end of the day? But I would say, though, that, like I said, people are, any little thing he does, hey, he's back, you know, so we're kind of we are shielding him quite a lot. We're overprotecting his performances, I would say, as well.
All right, let's move on to the substitutes. We're not going to give them a rating, but we'll just talk about them quickly. Harry Winks coming on for Ollie Skip, and actually, I think Harry Winks actually, he played well when he came on, didn't he?
He did, actually. I mean, to be fair, he did get... It's hard to judge it. I don't want to say, I keep bringing him back into the side, because this always happens. He has a good game against your Wycombe Wanderers, and then suddenly he's back in the side for a Prem game, and then he puts in another crap performance. But he was driving forwards with the ball. I like it when he dribbles as well. That's something that we don't really see enough from him. And we were like, he's going forwards with the ball. I thought he actually had a good
cameo, wasn't it?
Good cameo, yeah.
And then Davinson Sanchez came on as well for Lucas Moura, and I thought he looked good as well. Davinson Sanchez, obviously he got kicked in the face. I'm not sure why that wasn't a sending off or anything. I mean, I didn't see it clearly. Was it a sending off?
Well, when you watch it in real time, it doesn't look like a booking or anything like that. But when you watch it in slow mo, you go, and that should have at least been a booking. Yeah,
At
it was
least.
a stud in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it went in the eye, and immediately had the blood. And I've had a knock in the eye, so I know what that's like, and it's the worst thing you can have. I have constant. It's almost like mosquitoes. I have that in my vision because I'm damaged in that eye.
Oh, really?
So I had a knock in the eye, right on the eyeball, and I thought that's what happened to him. And if that's what happened, that would have been dreadful for him. But and he went away, came back with a bandage on. And he was really. I thought he was showing a lot of enthusiasm.
He was.
He was trying to. I felt like he was trying to really prove himself. He was
Yeah.
like, "Wow, I've got a little moment to prove myself," and I could feel that energy, enthusiasm from him on the pitch.
That's exactly what I was saying in the stadium last night.
So whether or not that's enough, I don't know. I do like having him. I like having him as a fringe defender. To be honest with you, I think he's good enough to come off the bench. I'm not quite sure if he's good enough.
Do you prefer Eric Dyer to Davison? I definitely
It's
prefer
one of those
Davison
where
to Davis. Though.
It's one of those where if Dyer's in the side for a few games, then people go, we need Sanchez in there. And if Sanchez was in there, people go, we need Dyer back in there. It's one of those.
Yeah.
For me, I would just have Dyer over Sanchez because Dyer's got enough over 89 minutes, I think, you know. Sanchez is more of a dynamic style player where he lunges in a lot more. But if he doesn't time it perfectly, he can be clumsy as well. I think Dyer's more that industrial style defender. If the team's playing well, he can hold it together. He also commands the box a little bit more, commands the other players a little bit more. So for that reason, just ahead of Sanchez.
All right. Tanguy Ndombele came on as well, 72nd minute for Heung-min Son, and I thought Tanguy was brilliant when he came on. I thought he was his creative best. He was running around a lot, pretty much didn't stop running for the time he came on, and I thought he was a really good impact sub last night.
I thought it was good. Yeah, I thought it was good. I don't think we're quite seeing the Tanguy that first came into the side under Nuno, when he was like really.
You mean Jose?
No, Nuno this season when he kind of earned his place
Right,
back in the side.
right.
I thought when he showed a lot of determination, he was really getting on the ball and looked wonderful on the ball. I thought
he did last night.
I thought he looked good, but I don't think it was quite. I don't think we were looking and going, "Wow, Tanguy's like he's
there was
looking incredible."
Obviously that lovely moment where he slipped in Giovanni Lo Celso with a bit of magic. So that was a chance. That definitely should have been a goal. He wasn't on for that long, but I thought for the time he had, he did fairly well.
Did well.
And obviously Giovanni Lo Celso came on for the last few minutes, showed some good desire to get forward and get into a good spot, but really should have scored that goal.
Should have scored. I'm not really going to think bad of him for that, because I think if a player gets themselves into a position, then a lesser player might not even get into that position. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the difference is someone like Bergwijn won't make many mistakes, but he doesn't sort of make an effort to get into those positions and put himself into the firing line, if you know what I mean. Whereas a player that can get into a position like Lo Celso, get in that position, he misses it, everyone's going to go dreadful. But I think he did well to get there. And he should have scored though.
Yeah.
He should have scored.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, let's move on to the manager. Last but not least, Antonio Conte. 7s all round from us. Let's start off with his starting lineup. What did you make out of that? Did you have any reservations when you first saw the lineup?
Davies, you always look at Davies, don't you? That's the thing with him. That's the only thing you'd say about that is Davies. What else could you say? How else would you have done it? If you could have improved that, what would you have said?
I probably would have probably played Sanchez or something instead of Davies.
Do you know what? I think a back three, you could even put Tanganga at the right side, Romero in the middle, and Dyer on the left. I think that's quite a solid three.
Yeah, that's the one that we picked in our predicted lineup.
Did you?
Yeah.
I think that's what I'd like to see going forward. If he would have done that, it would have shown like, okay, he already knows how we're playing.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think that you could really see with only one day on the training pitch with these guys, the first half an hour, the system that we were playing, it just night and day to how we were playing before, wasn't it?
It looked as though they'd been playing under Conte for a while,
Yeah.
actually. There was a certain composure to the way we were playing. There was a certain polish to us in the first 20 minutes, half an hour. We don't really expect that from a new manager. Normally you expect it to be quite raw,
Yeah.
and it's almost like you're working it out on the pitch for the first time. The players are kind of very enthusiastic, but there's a sort of a lack of cohesiveness. But there's a lot of cohesion in the first 30 minutes that you expect from after a few weeks. So that kind of impressed me.
Does that give you like very hopeful moving into the season that we can kind of maybe get results pretty quickly instead of having like a bedding in period?
It does, but then conceding those 2 goals made me think, oh, hang on a minute.
It knocked the stuffing out of us, those 2 goals, really much.
And I think it was good though for Conte to see this is what you're working with. He gets to see all the tools in the toolbox now. He gets to see every, like the
good, the bad,
rough,
the ugly,
the rough and the smooth with us.
Yeah.
So that was the perfect game for him to come into and see. It's the ultimate game for him to see every side of us, every facet of us. And then what else would we say? The in-game management, if we were to talk about that. Personally, I would have said take off Kane because I don't think he was working hard enough off the ball. I would have left Son and Moura on. And actually, when Moura came off, he looked very disappointed, actually. The camera cut to him. He looked quite disappointed by that. But apart from that, he brought on... Who did he bring? He took off Skip. He brought on
Tanguy and Sanchez.
And I guess you could say it worked, but then they went down to 10 men as well, so that balanced the books a little bit.
Yeah.
Had that not have happened, we might have actually conceded that third. Who knows? It could have happened. We had half an hour, didn't we?
Could be, but I think that from our red card to their red card, I do think we were fairly solid.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could say that. I think we might have just hung on even with 10 men, but I think it would if it was 3-3 though, people would have gone that was a real calamity. But the fact that we won that game, it's sort of like, you take that. Good win, good start. The feel good factors different, but overall, I like the way at the sidelines, he was. You could see the passion from him. He play. You could see that from him, and you weren't getting that under Nuno. Nuno actually,
you're just getting crossed arms.
Do you know? It's almost like Nuno. Nuno was almost like I don't know what to say. I feel a little bit like a fish out of water here.
Looked out of his depth, didn't he?
A little bit solemn, a little bit depressed, almost.
Yeah.
Almost like he kind of knew what was coming. You could feel his resignation coming.
But
like weeks ago, weeks
after the Palace game.
Yeah.
So 4 games into the season.
So under Conte, I have this thing where I feel in safe hands with him.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love his attitude on the sidelines, always at the edge of his technical area, barking out orders, which is complete night and day, like Nuno, like you said. And also, what I want to mention is, like I said before, that second goal, because that was such a breath of fresh air to me, because we haven't seen that for so long. Not under Jose.
What do you mean by that?
Not under Nuno. We haven't seen us proper build up from the back, get everyone involved, nice passing, one touch, slick moves, and ending up in a goal. And it was a lovely move. Lucas Moura, instrumental in that. Harry Kane with a lovely play into Lucas Moura. So I think that all the players got involved. It was really nice football, and it was just so nice to watch. And we haven't seen a goal like that since the Poch days.
What I would say, though, about that is that we were seeing in the second half, we were seeing a lot of possession. We started playing a lot of possession-based football, but it was because there wasn't enough movement off the ball as well. So we were sort of playing, we were like 20 consecutive passes or something like that. And people going, wow, this is incredible. But I think a lot of that was the fact that there was no real movement on the ball or off the ball. And you could see Romero was getting the ball, and he was going, come on, like someone make a move here. Give me create an angle so I can pass you. And so what was happening a lot of the times, we would sort of get into the final third, on the edge of the final third. Then we would shape back inside. Then we'd have to go back.
You know what that is?
Back to Laurice.
You know what that is? That's a Conte team reverting back to type. It's a Conte team, because the nucleus of a Conte team was there, in my opinion, but it was the players kind of with a lack of confidence after conceding those 2 goals, reverting back to type what they've been doing the last couple of weeks. That's what I saw.
So that's kind of why it kind of went into that possession-based football, I would say, and even in the first half at certain points, especially the end of the first half, is because it did at certain times go very static. And so when the players were picking up the ball, there was like, come on, and they was having to go very peripheral, very sideways. Yeah. And then back inside, out to the wing, and then Reguilon would get closed down. He would get cutting back inside, and we were kind of doing this crescent shape where it kind of goes out to the wing, back inside, back out to the other wing. But I do like the fact that, especially the first half, there was a lot of everyone was really working hard to sort of find those passes and get everyone involved. I thought, and it did feel good. It did look good. It had a different look to it, especially
definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so that is our player ratings. I want to know your ratings in the comment section below. Let me know if you agree with our ratings. Thanks for watching today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.